when you look at it in terms of, when one pleads patience with the wrestlers, every time one has spoken to them, they said we've been patient for months. And, it took a Supreme Court to intervene to register an FIR. And now there is a man who stands POCSO accused. There are statements by 7 women, one of them underage, for sexual harassment against him. That statement has been recorded before a magistrate. And if you look at in terms of sheer due process of law, one would have seen an arrest, is what the defense that comes in where the wrestlers are concerned. On the contrary, there are questions, and valid as well, that are being raised, that why is it that the wrestlers decided to choose inauguration day of the parliament? They could have chosen 8 hours after that, any other day, to express and continue with their Mahila Mahapanchayat. These are visuals that are coming in, Nikhil, and understandably, the wrestlers there breaking down what you just elucidated. It's testimony to their entire career as such, their career all in a box, they're full of medals. What does a sports person really aspire for? It's what they will be submitting to the gushing waters of the Ganga in minutes from now. Are they being stopped? We're going to try and understand. I'm going to try and connect with Anisha, who's going to be joining us from ground. But Nikhil, I want to pull you in. Was there an attempt by senior sporting personalities to reach out to them and tell them that, don't do this? You've put your sweat and blood. It's your career there that you'll submit to the waters of the Ganga.
Well, I was just listening to a few updates, Preeti, because just looking at those visuals right now, I think I did notice the wrestlers getting close to the river Ganga. But just breaking it down for you, as you had been mentioning, there are 2 sides to the story, and I'll just try and break it down. On one side, you've got Brij Bhushan Sharan. There are serious allegations against him. He's POSCO charged in that sense. So the least that you would expect anyone is to at least question him. He hasn't been even called in for questioning, and then in that sense the wrestlers are completely right to be aggrieved. But then you look at the other side of the story, as you mentioned, on the day of the parliament's opening, I spoke to a few personnel from the Delhi police, and they said that on that day, let alone the wrestlers, anyone else trying to go through the barricade wouldn't have been accepted. So did the wrestlers then cross the line? You'd have to say yes. Maybe it was a desperate attempt. They've been trying to draw the attention of the dispensation to listen to them, answer their call, maybe take some sort of action against Brij Bhushan Sharan, especially with the kind of charges that have been leveled against him. That could be. I was also present, Preeti, I must remind you, during that IPL game when that entire fracas took place. I did notice everything that was happening from very close quarters. There were about 4 wrestlers that turned up, and they wanted about 6-7 of them to be allowed inside, despite the fact that they didn't have valid tickets to enter. And at that time, Delhi police had tried to stop them, but they insisted that they be allowed inside. That created a lot of commotion, and that also drew media attention. And I think that these have been efforts from the wrestlers' point of view, that they want to attract the attention of the media. They want this issue to be highlighted on a continuous basis, and I think they are right. All I'm saying is that we've seen in the past the government or the sports authority or even the sports ministry reach out to the wrestlers. Every time they've done well, you've had functions, you've had felicitation functions for these wrestlers, you've honored them. If at the moment they feel a bit aggrieved, you've met them a couple of times, there's no harm having a continuous dialogue with them, trying to address any issues that they might have, because we know that this is a continuous process. All of that hasn't been forthcoming, and I think that is the root cause of the problem.